Hey, I'm Lauren McCorkle, and this is my vlog about my experiences in my new student dialogue. Mine was Crossing Borders, which was about analyzing our conceptions of international cultures and trying to um, get rid of common myths and stereotypes having to do with those cultures. So it was really interesting because when we started off, we did this activity where you would talk about some foreign place that you'd visited and what you did there, and if someone else had something in common with that, like that they'd been to that place or they did that thing in another place, then they would lock arms with you. And by the end, all of us had made this big circle of locking arms. And that just showed us that we all have stuff in common, even though we're all different and we came from different backgrounds and that kind of thing, that we also have stuff in common. And that was really neat to see. My group did achieve dialogue because we had an openness that helped us to learn from our mistakes and our biases. And we were able to find some common ground, and we all gained a new awareness of the issues. And like we did talk a lot about not just like cultural issues but also racial and religious differences, and the judgments that people made, and we talked about what are like common stereotypes. And there were some active voices in the dialogue because some of them had been falsely judged because of the stereotypes, and they had really strong opinions because of it, and so they shared a lot because of that. And some of us had more reserved voices because we hadn't had to deal with those kind of situations, and we hadn't really been judged harshly because of a stereotype. And that's where I fit in because I hadn't really had to deal with that kind of stuff. But it was good that I got to listen to people who did, because it taught me about how, like, being more aware of that's going on with other people, and that how I would feel if that had been done to me, and that I should be careful not to do those things so that way it's not hurtful to someone else, because there's some things like you don't even realize that are even going on, and it's good to like bring awareness to it. So it was really helpful because of that. And I think the dialogue is a component of Library 100 because it forces us to talk with students from diverse backgrounds about deeper issues. And it was useful because I learned that everyone does have some kind of common ground. And one interesting thing that we did was we watched this video about this woman who was from Africa. And she talked about how when she came to America, that people were really surprised that she even knew how to like use a stove or refrigerator, that she knew what those type of modern appliances were, because she came from Africa. Because a lot of people thought that Africans didn't know how to do that kind of stuff, and she was really like upset and surprised at that until she realized that they'd only been shown one story of Africans, and that was from those videos like the starving children in Africa who don't even have like a shirt or a pair of shoes and are starving and living in grass huts. And you know I realized when she said that I thought that too, that I'd seen those videos and I thought that that's how all Africans were. And she said that wasn't the case, that they had some really nice modern appliances and even like a maid, I think. And it just shows you, like what she was saying was that we really need to know multiple stories of different kinds of people, and that it's not good just to only know one story, because she even told one story about Americans and white people too, because the book she read, like the only books that came to Africa about white people, portrayed them as just this one way with families that were exactly like this, and that's not how we were either. And she realized that. And it also taught me about how you shouldn't make broad generalizations about an entire group of people just based off of one person you know. And that one individual's actions and the way they are should not stereotype an entire race or culture or religious group, and that you should be open to getting to know people before judging them just based on a first appearance or just like when they tell you that they're a certain race or culture or religion, you automatically think that they're a certain way, because that's not necessarily true. And that is really important to get to know people. And I thought this Crossing Borders New Student Dialogue did bring me to a new awareness of those kind of things, and now I'm going to be more careful about that in the future. So that was what I learned from my New Student Dialogue, and that's the end of my blog. Bye.